Ugh. It's so windy though. It's actually one of the reasons I tend to wait a little while to bring my plants outside. Robellini's finally big enough that I was able to give it a pineapple cut, which I've always wanted to do. You see the pineapple? Isn't it cute? See if I can. Go ahead and lift this guy up. That's why it flew over. There we go. That's better. What are you doing, Toby? Checking out the mess? Finished up the tub. Got some cuttings plopped in here. See if I can't get those propagated. That looks kind of like a bite.
Yeah. Booty, booty, rockin' everywhere. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere.
ADD. Hi everyone. Jeff here, Tropical Plant Party. Sorry about my little ADD rant. I picked up some new plants. I know I just did a big plant haul a few days ago, but it's that time of year where they just keep coming in, and I can't get planting quite yet because I'm still waiting on somebody to come out and redo my siding. So I don't see a reason to be putting a bunch of stuff into the garden if it's all going to get trampled on potentially. So I'm just kind of sitting back and enjoying things in their pots. But mostly what I picked up were begonias. The first I have here is this Amistil Batik Tuberous Begonia, called Tuberous Begonia. I love the flowers on these. They're beautiful orangey coral color, and they kind of sparkle a little bit. I've got a couple of those. The only issue I have ever had with the tuberous type begonias is that they, I break them. I have to be very gentle with them. These delicate pieces in here snap very, very easily. But this particular begonia only gets, I think, 8 to 10 inches high, and it just spreads a little bit. I think about the same width, so it kind of makes a nice mound, if you will. I've been gardening, and I didn't wear gloves, so there's dirt under my nails. If that bothers you, then find something more important to be bothered about. Just kidding. I get it. It's gross, but it is what it is. This is a gardening channel. It happens, and I've yet to find a pair of gloves that I like, and I just love having my hands in the dirt. The next are these Whopper Begonias. Red with green leaf. So descriptive. This is basically a dragon wing begonia on steroids. These are supposed to get 26 to 32 inches tall. That's gigantic. And I believe 18 to 24 inches wide. So these are really big. You could plop a single one of these in a basket and maybe throw some trailers over the sides and just be done with it. Or no trailers and just enjoy it. I grabbed 2 of these, and I got another variety that's the same, but it has a bronzy dark leaf on it that I'll show in a little bit. But I love the glossy leaves on these. The dragon wing type begonias are some of my favorites just because they're so vigorous, and the flowers on them sparkle. Do we see sparkle? I don't know. You see sparkle? Probably not. But that's one of the reasons I like these guys. They come in, I believe, red, pink, and orange. And I grabbed 2 pink, or red. This would be red, not pink. The pink ones were a little bit pale. I usually prefer kind of a brighter, vibrant pink. You know, for that more tropical feeling. So, I went with the red. I think they're adorable. Really nice flowers. Alright, and here we have the regular dragon wings. I just picked up a couple reds and a couple pinks. They're very similar to the Whopper ones that I just showed. They just stay smaller. I think, goodness, what, like 12 to 15? 12 to 15 inches on these, probably an equal spread. Spaced 12 inches. The flowers are really fairly close to being about the same size. The flowers and leaves and height overall on the Whopper is much bigger, but you know, the Whopper actually gets kind of a bit too big for some things, so I went ahead and just grabbed a red and a pink for both of these. And it could have just been the nursery I was at, but the pink flowers on the Whopper Dragon Wing were very pale in comparison to just these regular ones, which, I mean, I guess these are a little bit pale too. There are a lot of things that can factor into the color of the flowers, but I like how on all of these, the stems have nice colors leading up to the flowers. Yeah, they're pretty. I like them. I very briefly showed these guys in my last video. These are the Waterfall and Kento Orange. They're really pretty. I think the hummingbirds are probably really going to enjoy this. I don't know how heavily they'll feed out of it, but it'll at least attract them to the area so that they can feed off of my other plants that have a lot of nectar in them. This guy right here is, I believe, more of a trailer than the other guys. This is 12 to 20 inches wide, 24 inches high, so about the same. I always thought that when they had these longer leaves on them, that those were angel wing begonias, but it is labeled as a dragon's wing, so I don't really know for sure. Oh, we lost a flower. Rest in peace, flower. You'll be alright. So I grabbed a couple of these guys. These are going to possibly go up into the trees somewhere high. They'll add a splash of color mixed in with the orchids. Last but certainly not least are the Whopper Red with Bronze Leaf. These are just like the Whoppers I showed before. I talked about these shortly, but they have a darker leaf. So these are going to add a really nice contrast in the backgrounds of planters. I don't know how much the flowers are going to stand out. None of the ones at the nursery actually had flowers on them yet. This one has a little bit bud. That doesn't make any sense. Has a teeny tiny little bud on it. So, you know, we'll see how impressive the flowers are, but as far as the foliar interest, it's a great plant. I really like these. These really are going to stand out and help draw attention and focus to the things planted around them and to them themselves, and they do have a very tropical look to them. So that'll do it for everything I picked up. A little note on the care and why I enjoy the begonias so much. Begonias, typically, there are tons and tons of different varieties. This is a tiny, itty-bitty, minuscule little smattering of all the different varieties that there are out there. There are even perennial varieties, some of which I do have in my garden, but they aren't really doing anything significant yet to speak of, so there's really nothing to show you. But these are annual varieties, or at least I believe north of probably zone 9 or 10 would be my guess. And they can take lots of sun, or they can take a pretty good amount of shade. A lot of these tags say 2 to 8 hours of sun, meaning 8 hours is typically what you want for full sun. 2 to 4, I think, is usually shade, and I think maybe 4 to 6 is part. But 2 to 8 hours, that's a great variance, which means they're incredibly versatile, and I can plant them all over the place and have a consistency. My yard, one of the problematic things is that there are areas, there are little patches that get full sun, and then there are patches that get deep, deep shade, and it's very smothered. It's inconsistent, so I can't have just like a great big full sun garden, a big shade garden. I really have to be very particular about what goes where. That's why I love the begonias, because I can kind of move them all over the place. Unlike other annuals like impatiens, you can't just plant impatiens in the sun. You know, you do have to make sure that if they do get sun, it's mostly morning sun, with the exception of the sun patients, which are excellent, but they need to get enough sun in order to flower and not get leggy. Then you have the New Guinea impatiens, which are kind of in between, and they'll have the same problem. They'll get leggy and they'll even rot if they're in too much shade and they get too much water. So begonias are more versatile. They are somewhat drought tolerant. You know, they're the big guys, like those whoppers in the back. Their leaves tend to wilt when they're thirsty. It's like you can see this guy back here. That leaf that's tipped over, he's thirsty. You need to give that guy some water. It's one of the excellent things here is you can kind of just do whatever you want with them, as long as they're in a nice, fertile, well-draining soil, and you give them the proper watering. You don't want to let them dry out for too terribly long, but they can dry out a little bit longer than other annuals that flower. Back to what I was saying. They'll flower more profusely than other annuals will. So, that'll wrap that up for today. Just a long talk about
begonias, just a few varieties. The dragon wings, tuberous, and I would consider this to be an angel wing, but apparently it's not. So, there we go. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and happy gardening, everybody.